Part 1. The years nobody counted. The years nobody saw. You were the years that built everything. Not the years you were performing. Not the years you were being celebrated, recognized, or validated by the world around you. Not the years that made it onto the highlight reel or found their way into the story you tell at dinner tables. The hidden years. The invisible years. The years you spent in the quiet, in the struggle, in the private darkness of becoming something the world had not yet given you permission to be. Those years. And I know what the world told you about those years while you were living them. It told you they were wasted. It told you they were evidence of your failure to arrive on schedule. It told you that the people who were visible, celebrated, and moving forward during the same years you were hidden were the ones doing life correctly, and you were somehow doing it wrong. I am here to tell you, with everything I can bring to this conversation, that everything the world told you about your hidden years was wrong. Not slightly wrong, completely, fundamentally, provably wrong. And in the next several minutes I'm going to show you exactly why the years that nobody counted were the only years that actually counted. Stay with me. What the hidden years feel like from the inside. Let me describe something, and I want you to tell me if this is accurate. There was a period in your life, maybe it is still happening right now, where you felt completely invisible to the world that seemed to matter. Not invisible in a dramatic way, in the quiet, persistent, daily way that accumulates over months and years into something that begins to feel like a verdict. You were working. You were trying. You were showing up to the process of building something real, even when the process was slow, even when the results were not yet visible, even when the people around you seemed to be moving faster, arriving sooner, and being noticed in ways that you were not. And in the private moments, in the honest hours when the performance of okayness dropped away, you asked the question that most people in hidden seasons eventually ask. Does what I am doing matter if nobody can see it? Is the work real if it produces no visible result? Am I falling behind, permanently, irreversibly, while the world moves on without me? I want to address those questions directly, not with reassurance, not with the kind of encouragement that sounds good, but fades by morning. With evidence. Because the answer to every one of those questions, when measured against the documented reality of how human beings actually build things that last, is the same. The hidden years were not falling behind. They were the foundation being laid, and foundations, by their nature, by their design, by the very reason they exist, are never visible while they are being built. Here is something that permanently changed the way I understand hidden seasons. Every building you have ever seen that is still standing was built from the ground down before it was built from the ground up. The taller the building, the deeper the foundation has to go before a single visible brick can be laid. The more significant the life, the longer the hidden season has to run before the visible chapter can begin. Your hidden years were not the delay, they were the depth. The psychology, the hidden years advantage. Psychologist Anders Ericsson at Florida State University spent decades studying the development of expertise across virtually every domain of human achievement: music, sports, chess, medicine, science, business. His research, which became the foundation of Malcolm Gladwell's famous 10,000-hour rule, revealed something profound about the relationship between hidden work and visible achievement. What Ericsson found was not simply that expertise requires time, it requires a specific kind of time. He called it deliberate practice, a quality of focused, effortful, privately conducted work that happens away from performance pressure, away from audience evaluation, and away from the distorting effect of external validation. The musicians who became truly exceptional were not the ones who practiced the most in front of audiences. They were the ones who spent the most time in private, focused, effortful work in the hidden hours that no one was counting, in the repetitions that no one was watching, in the failures that no one ever knew happened. The athletes who built careers that lasted decades were not the ones who performed best in front of crowds early. They were the ones who did the most work when no one was in the stadium. The writers, scientists, leaders, and builders who produced work that outlasted their own lifetimes, almost without exception, had one thing in common in their biographical histories: an extended period of hidden, private, unobserved work that the world around them had no idea was happening. The hidden years were not a gap in the story. They were the story being written in a place the audience could not yet see. Think about the thing you built during your most invisible season, the understanding you developed, the skill you refined, the character you forged in the private hours when no one was measuring your progress or confirming your worth. Now ask yourself honestly, could you have built that in public? Could you have developed that depth of capability under the pressure of constant evaluation and the distortion of external validation? Almost certainly not. The hidden years were the only conditions under which what you built could have been built. The historical pattern, the ones who built in secret. Let me give you documented historical evidence, not inspiration, but recorded fact. Abraham Lincoln spent the majority of his adult life in obscurity and perceived failure. He lost 8 elections before becoming president. He failed in business twice. He suffered a nervous breakdown so severe that his friends removed sharp objects from his home. For years, hidden years, he was building something in the silence of his struggles that the world had no framework to recognize or measure. Those hidden years produced a depth of empathy, resilience, and moral clarity that no comfortable, visible, celebrated path could have generated. When the moment arrived that required everything he had built in those invisible years, the nation's survival depended on it. And he had it, because he had been building it in secret for decades. Leonardo da Vinci spent hidden years, filling private notebooks with observations, experiments, and ideas that no one else would see for centuries. He worked in the hidden spaces between his commissioned paintings. He studied anatomy in secret. He designed machines that would not be built for 500 years. The world saw his paintings. It had no idea what was being built in the notebooks. What was being built in the notebooks was the mind that made the paintings possible. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in a prison cell, the most extreme version of hidden years that a human being can experience. The world forgot about him. The movement he had helped start continued without his visible participation. And in that cell, in that involuntary hiddenness, he was building something that no public platform could have built. A quality of patience, perspective, and moral authority that became the foundation of an entire nation's reconciliation. The hidden years were not outside the story. They were the most important part of it. Before we move into part 2, one question in the comments. One word. What were your hidden years building in you, even when you could not see it? Just one word. Leave it below, because there are thousands of people watching this right now who are still in their hidden years, and they need to know that what they are building matters, even when no one is watching. Before we enter part 2, I want to speak to you directly for just a moment. Creating this content, the research, the depth, the careful transmission of these truths takes an enormous amount of time and dedication. If this message has reached something real in you today, please consider supporting this work. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now, or find the support link in the pinned comment below. I have also prepared a free companion guidance PDF for this series, practical exercises that go deeper than what we can cover in the video alone. Download it using the link in the pinned comment. And if you are standing at a serious crossroads right now wondering whether your hidden years are producing anything real, and you need a personal, direct blueprint built specifically for your situation, my private video readings are open for you through the link in the description. Your support keeps this work alive and this message reaching the people who need it most. Now part 2 is waiting, and what comes next will show you the exact neuroscience of what your brain was building during your most invisible season, and why the hidden years are neurologically the most productive years of a human life. Let's keep going. Part 2. The hidden years were actually building. While the world was not watching, your brain was working harder than it has ever worked in your life. Not in the way that produces visible output, not in the way that generates metrics, followers, or evidence that can be shown to anyone outside the walls of your own experience. In the way that builds the internal architecture that everything visible eventually stands on. And I am going to show you at the level of your neuroscience, at the level of your psychology, at the level of the documented mechanics of how human capability actually develops exactly what was being constructed in you during the years that nobody was counting. Because what was being built was not nothing, it was everything. The neuroscience, what your brain builds in hidden seasons. Neuroscientist Michael Merzenich at the University of California, San Francisco, one of the world's leading researchers on neuroplasticity, The brain's ability to physically restructure itself in response to experience spent decades studying what conditions produce the most significant and most durable neurological development in adult human beings. What his research revealed permanently changed how neuroscientists understand the relationship between experience and brain development. Merzenich found that the brain's most significant structural changes, the formation of new neural pathways, the strengthening of existing connections, the development of the specific cognitive architectures that underlie genuine expertise, do not happen during performance. They happen after performance, during rest, reflection, and the quiet consolidation periods that follow intense experience. In plain language, the brain does not build its most important structures while you are being watched. It builds them in the hidden hours, in the consolidation periods, in the quiet seasons when external demands are reduced and the brain finally has the resources to integrate everything it has been learning and experiencing into something durable and deep. Your hidden years were not years of neurological stagnation. They were years of neurological construction. The brain you have right now, with every capacity, every depth of understanding, every nuanced judgment and hard-won wisdom it contains, was built largely in the seasons when nobody was watching. The hidden years were not wasted on your brain. They were invested by it. Here is something I want you to genuinely consider. The most capable version of you, the one with the deepest understanding, the most refined judgment, the most genuine and durable strength did not emerge during your most visible seasons. It emerged during your most hidden ones, not despite the hiddenness, because of it. The psychology, the compound effect of hidden work. Researcher Darren, building on decades of behavioral psychology research, documented what he called the compound effect, the principle that small, consistent, privately conducted actions, invisible to the outside world, unmeasurable by external metrics, accumulate over time into results that appear, from the outside, to be sudden and dramatic. The overnight success that took 15 years. The breakthrough that appeared from nowhere and was actually the product of thousands of hours of hidden work that no one was counting. The person who seemed to arrive fully formed and had actually been forming in private for longer than anyone around them realized. This is the documented mechanics of how the hidden years work. Every day of private effort, every hour of unobserved practice, every quietly carried lesson, every private failure that taught something that no public success could have taught, was being added to an account that the world could not see, and therefore could not measure. And accounts that compound in private always produce results that look miraculous in public. Because the world only sees the result. It never sees the hidden years that made the result possible. What this means for you, specifically, personally, in the context of your own hidden years, is this. The work you did when no one was watching was not lost. It was compounding. And compound interest, whether financial or human, always reaches a point where the accumulated growth becomes impossible to ignore. Your hidden years were not a flat line. They were a curve that the world simply could not yet see. The world measures you by what it can see, but the most important things about you were built in a space it could not see. And a person who has built something real in the hidden years carries a depth, a gravity, a genuine substance that people who are always visible simply do not possess. You can feel the difference when you are in the room with someone who has genuinely lived something versus someone who has only performed living it. You are the person who has genuinely lived it, and that is not a small thing. That is everything. The architecture of hidden development. Here is the complete picture of what the hidden years actually build, laid out with full clarity. The first thing they build is genuine competence. Not performed competence, the kind that looks impressive under favorable conditions and collapses under pressure. Genuine competence, the kind that was developed through real struggle, real failure, and real recovery in conditions that required actual capability, rather than the appearance of it. This is the competence that holds when everything is on the line. The competence that was built precisely because the hidden years provided the conditions, the private pressure, the unobserved struggle, the freedom to fail without social consequence that genuine competence requires. The second thing they build is unperformed character. The character you developed in your hidden years was not developed for an audience. It was not shaped by the need to appear a certain way or maintain a certain image. It was formed in the private encounters with your own limitations, your own fears, your own capacity for both failure and recovery that only happen when no one is watching. This is the most durable kind of character that exists because it was never built for display. It was built because it was needed. The third thing they build is deep contextual wisdom. The specific, nuanced, hard-won understanding of how things actually work beneath the surface, beneath the official version, beneath what the visible, celebrated, publicly successful path would have shown you, is built in the hidden years. The years of struggle give you access to a level of reality that comfort never reaches, and that access, that deep, private, experiential understanding of how life actually functions at its most fundamental level is the raw material of everything genuinely useful that a human being can ever offer to the world. In part 3, the final and most practical part of this series, I am going to give you 3 specific disciplines that will help you claim everything your hidden years have built in you and begin to bring it into visible expression in a way that is aligned with who you have actually become. Quick reminder before part 3, the free companion PDF for this series is in the pinned comment below. It contains the written exercises that go with everything we are covering, designed so you can do this work practically, not just listen to it. Download it now so it is ready when we finish. Part 3 is the most powerful part. 3 disciplines, starting today. Let's finish this. Part 3, how to claim what the hidden years built. You made it to part 3. And before we begin, I want to say something directly. If you are still in your hidden years, if the visibility, the recognition, the sense that what you are building is being seen and valued by the world has not yet arrived, I want you to hear this. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are not being passed over by a process that forgot to include you. You are in the most important phase of the entire journey, the phase that determines everything that comes after it. The phase that the people who arrived early, who were visible and celebrated before they were deep, will spend the rest of their lives wishing they had been given. The hidden years are not the waiting room. They are the laboratory. And what is being built in your laboratory right now, in the private, unvalidated work of your most invisible season, is the foundation of everything your visible years will stand on. In part 1, we established the truth. The years nobody saw you were the years that built everything. In part 2, we understood the neuroscience and psychology of what your brain and character were actually constructing in the hidden season. Now in part 3, we are going to talk about how to actively claim what was built and begin to bring it into the world. 3 disciplines. Let's build. Discipline 1. The hidden inventory. The first discipline is called the hidden inventory, and it begins with doing something that most people who have been through hidden years almost never do. Claiming what was built, not what was achieved in the visible sense. What was built, what was developed, refined, forged, and accumulated in the private hours of your most invisible seasons. Here is how the hidden inventory works. You take a piece of paper and you write down 3 hidden years, 3 specific periods of your life, when you were largely invisible to the world that seemed to matter. Not the years you were performing, the years you were hidden. Write them down. Give each one a time frame. Now next to each one write 3 things. The first, what was happening externally during this period, what the world saw, or more accurately, what it did not see. The second, what you were actually doing during this period, the work, the learning, the struggling, the building that was happening beneath the surface of the external stillness. The third, what you came out of this period with that you did not go into it with, not what you achieved, what you became. What capacity, what understanding, what depth of character emerged from this hidden season that would not have existed without it. Do this for all 3 periods, then read what you have written. What you will find in specific, concrete, personal terms is that your hidden years were not gaps in your story. They were chapters written in invisible ink, full of development, full of construction, full of the specific and irreplaceable building work that everything you are capable of right now was built from. The hidden inventory makes the invisible. And once you can see what was actually built in your own words, from your own experience, the hidden years stop feeling like wasted time. They start feeling like the most productive investment you ever made. The world did not see your hidden years, but the hidden years saw everything about you. They saw what you were made of when comfort was not available. They saw what you chose when no one was watching. They saw who you were when there was no audience to perform for, and what they saw and built from is the most real and most valuable thing about you. Discipline 2. The Emergence Practice. The second discipline is called the Emergence Practice, and it is the bridge between the hidden years and the visible ones. Most people who have spent significant time in hidden seasons develop a specific and understandable habit. They wait for permission to emerge. They wait for someone to notice them, validate them, invite them forward, confirm that what they built in private is worth bringing into public. The permission never comes from outside. It has to come from inside. The emergence practice is how you give it to yourself. Every single day, without exception, without waiting for conditions to be perfect or for external validation to arrive, you do one thing that brings what you built in private into public expression. Not a dramatic announcement, not a performance. One thing. Share one piece of understanding that your hidden years produced in writing, in conversation, in any form that puts it outside the walls of your private experience and into the world where it can be received. Take one step toward the work that your hidden years were preparing you for the specific contribution that only your particular combination of hidden development and hard-won wisdom could make. Have one honest conversation about who you have become, not who you were before the hidden years, and not a performed version of who you are becoming, but the genuine, real, fully arrived person that the hidden years actually produced. One thing, every day. Because emergence is not an event, it is a practice. And the world does not discover the people who built something real in their hidden years because those people announced themselves loudly. It discovers them because they began quietly, consistently, one day at a time, to bring what was built into expression. And expression, like compound interest, accumulates until one day the world looks up and sees something that was not there before, not understanding that it was always there, hidden, being built, waiting for exactly this moment to emerge. The most powerful things in the universe were hidden before they were visible. The seed before the tree, the foundation before the building, the hidden years before the life that everyone will eventually see. Your emergence is not a future event. It began the moment you decided that what was built in the hidden years was worth bringing into the light. The third discipline is the most personal and the most powerful. It is called the Visible Declaration, and you write it once, from your own experience in your own words, and you return to it every morning before the day begins. Here is how you write it. You complete 4 sentences honestly, specifically, without performing a confidence you do not yet fully feel, and without minimizing the genuine depth that your hidden years have actually built. The first sentence. The specific thing I built during my hidden years that I could not have built any other way is. The second sentence. The specific person or group of people who needs what my hidden years built in me is. The third sentence. The specific thing I am going to do today to bring what was built in private into expression in public is. The fourth sentence. The hidden years were not wasted because. 4 sentences. Written with complete honesty. Returned to every morning. Not as a performance of readiness you do not yet feel, as a daily reminder of the truth that your hidden years have already established whether the world can see it yet or not. You are not empty. You are full of everything your hidden years built, and the world is waiting whether it knows it yet or not for exactly what was built in exactly the way it was built, in exactly the hidden season you lived through, by exactly the person you have become because of it. Before I close this series, I want to say one thing that I believe is more important than everything else we have covered. The hidden years hurt. The invisibility was real. The longing to be seen, to be recognized, to have what you were building acknowledged by the world around you, that longing was real. And the silence that met it was not easy to carry. I am not asking you to pretend it was. What I am asking, what the evidence of psychology, neuroscience, and the documented lives of every human being who ever built something that lasted is asking, is that you hold one truth alongside the pain. The hidden years were not happening to you. They were happening for you, building in you something that the visible path could never have produced, something that is now yours completely, irreversibly, unshakably yours because it was built in the only place where real things can be built, in the hidden years, in the years nobody counted, in the years that built everything. If this series reached something real in you, if it named the years you have been carrying, do one thing. Think of one person in your life right now who is in their hidden years and has started to believe they are being left behind. Send them this. Not for the channel. For them, because the right words at the right moment do not just comfort a person, they redirect them toward the truth about what their hidden years are actually building. The free companion PDF with all the written exercises for this series is in the pinned comment below. Download it. The work continues there. Subscribe, because the next chapter goes even deeper. I will see you in the next one.